There's only one buffet in Las Vegas that people talk about as though it's an attraction all by itself. And today, we're going in. We're at the iconic Bacchanal Buffet at Caesar's Palace, the buffet so many call the best in Vegas. Welcome to Let's Eat Vegas. I'm a chef and former restaurant owner, and I tell it exactly like it is. If it's great, you'll hear it. If it's disappointing, you'll hear that too. We've eaten here many times, but it's been almost 2 years since our last visit. So the big question, does the Bacchanal still deserve the crown, or have time, competition, and rising prices taken a toll? Let's find out. The Bacchanal is known for having some of the freshest, highest quality seafood of any buffet in Las Vegas. You can feel it the moment you walk up to the station. People laser focused, plates in hands, eyes locked on the crab and lobster. For many guests, this is why they're here. The crab legs are partially pre-cracked, but you still have to work for the sweet meat inside. Personally, I prefer the Wynn's method of cutting them fully in half. Safer, easier, and a lot more enjoyable. Here, the extra effort is probably intentional. When you see people stacking crab legs and claws into impressive seafood skyscrapers, you understand why the Bacchanal doesn't make it too easy. The crab itself is fantastic, sweet, clean, and full of that natural ocean brine that hits all the right notes. It's truly addictive. Dip it in their hot, melted butter, and it gets even better. For me, today's crab is a solid 10 out of 10. Now the lobster claws. I usually skip claws entirely. At the Palm Lobster Buffet, I don't even touch them. But here, they're worth the effort. Hot, freshly steamed, and served with butter. The meat is sweet, rich, and has that classic lobster depth and pull. Even before you dip it, it feels indulgent. They don't always come out as cleanly as I'd like. You have to twist and coax the meat a bit, but the claws are a good size, and when you finally get that perfect piece, it's absolutely worth the effort. I don't say this often about lobster claws, but these are genuinely good quality, and I'd gladly go back for more. The Jonah crab is my least favorite, not for the flavor, but for the work involved. The spicy Cajun sauce it's cooked in is fantastic. Bold, peppery, aromatic, but the crab itself is slippery and tough to open. Great in theory, delicious in taste, but not the most rewarding when you're trying to get your money's worth without earning a wrist cramp. Still, between the crab legs, the lobster claws, and the overall freshness of the entire seafood station, it's easy to see why so many people consider the Bacchanal the best seafood buffet in Las Vegas. What part of the seafood station is your favorite? Let me know in the comments. The shrimp cocktail at the Bacchanal is wonderful. Clean, bright, and kissed by the ocean. They're probably farm raised like most shrimp these days, but the flavor is still some of the best you'll find in Vegas. They're getting a bit smaller, but since they're already peeled and easy to eat, it's no trouble to load up. The remoulade sauce is interesting, mustard forward, and honestly, closer to McDonald's secret sauce than a classic remoulade, but it works. The cocktail sauce is excellent as well. Traditional, bold, and even better with a spoon of their coarse horseradish mixed in. I highly recommend it. Now, the shell-on shrimp. If you're not used to eating shrimp whole, these take a little work. I grew up eating them shells and all, thanks to my adopted Chinese mother, Rose. And the flavor in the shell is worth it. These are clean from the back, which makes the whole experience much nicer. Crisp texture, lots of seafood richness, very similar to soft-shell crab. They're seasoned in a Cajun mix, smoky, peppery, aromatic, but they're served cold. I wish they were hot as they do at the Wynn, which are, I believe, the best in town. Still, even cold, these are flavorful and very good. If you enjoy shell-on shrimp, don't skip these. The bone marrow turned out to be nothing more than an empty bone with chimichurri, a disappointment right away. The brisket is a big slice, but it's dry and overcooked. Tender, yes, but without enough fat to keep it flavorful. I've had Bacchanal's brisket when it was some of the best I've ever tasted. Juicy, smoky, melt in your mouth good. Today, I found it just ordinary. The bark is good, but that's where the compliments end. The brisket just didn't shine this time, and with so many options at this buffet, it's not worth the space on your plate or in your stomach. The carving station has brought back one memory from our previous visits. The faces may have changed, but the surly attitude remains. What's with the lack of hospitality? This little T-bone lamb chop is surprisingly well executed. Even though buffet heat lamps make it impossible to keep any pink, it's still tender, nicely charred, and coated in a sweet, rich Madeira wine glaze that really brings it together. With over 200 dishes here, it's impressive they nailed this one. When I was a kid, I refused to eat lamb chops until my mother explained that Sherry Lewis's lamb chop was a puppet, and this dish actually brought that memory back for me. The mashed potatoes are my guilty pleasure. You're not supposed to fill up on them at a buffet, but these are creamy, buttery, and seasoned well. Total comfort food, hard to pass up. The mushrooms look better than they taste. A bit bland and not on the same level as the lamb chop or potatoes. They beautifully present this pork lechon, with the dramatic entire pig on display. Though I have to admit, I don't like seeing the whole animal laid out, especially when the lechon is such a disappointment, dry and overcooked. But I did like the crackling skin. You couldn't blame pulling an Eric Cartman on this one, as the skin was the only good part of the dish. The Asian ribs are usually my favorites here, but not today. Overcooked, dry, and chewy. The 5-spice flavor and sesame seeds are still tasty, but that's where it ends. And remember, I got here right when they opened, so this wasn't a heat lamp issue. It came out this way. The barbecue pork, it's supposed to be chashu, but it felt more like chashu inspired. Instead of that glossy sweet glaze, it's covered in a Western-style sauce. The meat is gray, dry, and totally overcooked. No love went into this. The duck, yuck. Overcooked, dry, and not enjoyable at all. Duck should be juicy and tender, and this was neither. The shrimp tempura, actually very good. Hasn't always been in the past. Light, lace-thin batter and a big, firm shrimp inside. No heavy fake tempura here. I didn't see any dipping sauce, but the station was total chaos, so who knows? People were grabbing food as though it might disappear any moment. It's annoying, but certainly conjures up a mental image of what a festival in honor of Bacchus would have been like in Roman times, minus the vomitorium. The calamari is also solid, tender, not rubbery, and at first glance, it even looked like onion rings. Nicely fried, well seasoned, easy to enjoy. The potatoes are a fun bonus. Crisp, soft inside, dangerously addictive little wedges. A simple plate, but the execution is worthy of praise. If you feel our execution is worthy of praise, please move from the 60% of viewers YouTube tells us aren't subscribers. Subscribing is free, helps us grow, and lets us keep bringing you more of the good, the bad, and the delicious. And when you do subscribe, be sure to tap the notifications bell, and then choose all, so you won't miss any of our new reviews. YouTube doesn't always notify you otherwise. And hey, YouTube just added a brand new feature called Hype. It's an easy way to show support for videos you love. So if you enjoy what we do, give this video a hype. It really helps us reach more food lovers. And if you'd like to go one step further, you can always buy us a coffee using the link in the description below. Every little bit helps us keep exploring more great Vegas eats. Well, I fully expected these to be bang bang shrimp, since that's what it was in the past. But alas, they've switched to chicken. Maybe it's a hedge against inflation, not so much a change of heart. Well, regardless of why, it's definitely not an improvement. The batter is okay, crispy, but a little heavy for my liking. The sauce, tangy, spicy, but not overwhelmingly so. And then the Mongolian beef. Lacks all the true elements of what it should be. No wok hay or charred flavor whatsoever. It's bland and forgettable. The Korean ribs, perhaps the best thing on this particular plate. They have a nice char, almost bordering on being a little too burnt, but just right to the edge. I love that. So 1 out of 3, not the end of the world. This entire plate screams Restaurant Depot. Back when we had our restaurant, we'd bought fresh ingredients there, but plenty of owners loaded up on frozen, pre-made items. And everything on this plate looks exactly like that. The spring roll tastes like a frozen takeout version. Not awful, but not what a house-made buffet should serve. Same with the crab rangoon. I'm spoiled by Chinatown's fresh wontons, and to me, these taste like they're straight from a box. The little samosas don't fit the dim sum theme and feel to me like more freezer food. The duck legs, the best of the bunch, probably made in-house. I give them a 5 out of 10. If you catch the Peking duck fresh, not soggy under the warmer, it's decent, but you can get much better just a few minutes away in Chinatown. Overall, everything here is edible, just obviously mass-produced, and at the price of this buffet, you expect better. These sliders come with pickles, cheese, caramelized onions, and maybe a little of that same remoulade sauce that tasted suspiciously like McDonald's secret sauce. I've had them here many times before, and they're usually pretty good. These are no exception. Flavorful, well-seasoned, and honestly, better than I expected for buffet sliders. Now, I wouldn't skip my favorite burger spots to eat these, and I definitely wouldn't come to a buffet just to get sliders, but since I'm trying everything today, they earned a spot on the plate. On camera, you can see they're surprisingly not overcooked, still slightly pink in the center, which is rare for buffet burgers. The meat has a rich, complex flavor, and they actually did a nice job with the seasoning. The buns, however, are a little over-toasted, though I'd wager that's the heat lamp's doing. They dry out bread very fast, so not a shock. Well, overall, a win. Yum! Hargao! One of my favorite dim sum bites. But unfortunately, this is a poor representative of hargao. I'm pretty sure it's not homemade. The wrapper is dense and heavy, instead of thin and translucent as real hargao should be. It takes away from the whole bite. The chive dumpling's better. It's not seared, which would have added some nice texture, but the filling tastes closer to something made in-house. Well-seasoned pork and shrimp with plenty of chives. The barbecue pork bun is delicious. Soft dough, sweet savory filling, but I have mixed feelings. Someone who knows the behind the scenes told me Caesars buys these from a well-known manufacturer. Well, who really knows? Either way, they taste amazing, so someone knew what they were doing. Thai basil chicken. Well, it isn't terrible, but it's far from restaurant quality. I'm sad to say it's pretty flavorless. None of that bright basil aroma, none of the depth you expect from a real Thai stir-fry. It fills the plate, but it doesn't excite the palate. The Chinese broccoli is actually the best thing on this plate. It's well seasoned, cooked properly, and has that nice balance of tenderness with a little snap. Simple, but good. Well, I was hoping the kimchi rice would be the true hero of the plate, but it too is a miss. Bland, a little greasy, and not worth the space it takes up on your plate, or in your stomach. I was also hoping to get something to drink about now. Well, guess I'm on my own. We met a really nice guy named Larry while waiting in line, a true avid fan of this buffet. He told me not to miss the ube agua fresca, and he was right. It's rich, creamy, and delicious, with a little surprise in the flavor, cinnamon. That touch of spice gives it a warm, round finish. It works beautifully with the ube. The watermelon agua fresca is more experimental. They added cumin to it, which definitely caught me off guard. I'm still on the fence about that one, but I'll give them creativity points for trying something different. It's not bad, it's just unexpected. Whenever I see chips at a buffet, a question always arises. Do they make the chips and salsa from scratch? Sadly, to me it was obviously a no. I thought the chips tasted factory-made. Crisp, sure, but not fresh fried. And I don't believe the salsa starts with fresh peppers either. It has that canned base flavor. And the habanero version was a real disappointment. Only a little spicy, nowhere near bold or intense, and definitely not fresh. The guacamole didn't seem to me like the real deal either. Tastes like the frozen pre-made kind you buy in bulk, and it's missing the seasoning it desperately needs. No brightness, no punch, nothing to make it stand out. And the verde, well, it too tastes like nothing, if nothing had a taste. These dishes come from the Italian section, which honestly feels like an insult to Italians everywhere. I usually skip this area entirely, but I decided to give these few a chance. The short rib is bland and overcooked, and it looks like it survived more than one buffet shift. No depth, no richness, just a tired piece of meat sitting on oily, cheese-heavy polenta that doesn't add anything. The meatball is fine, dense, juicy enough, decently seasoned, but nothing memorable. If I had served meatballs like this in my restaurant, I'd been tarred and feathered. The mashed potatoes underneath are good, but forgettable, more filler than anything else. Okay, time to head south of the border to the Mexican section. The empanadas are actually pretty good. They're clearly made by hand with fresh dough. You can tell the moment you bite into them. They're topped with shredded carnitas, and the flavor is rich, savory, and genuinely satisfying. I also noticed they have a real Mexican guy working the station, one of the only friendly employees here. And he told me they have honest-to-goodness Mexican cooks in the kitchen making authentic dishes. And you can taste it. The birria taco is very nice. Great flavor, well-seasoned, tender birria, and that deep, comforting richness you want from a birria stew. Honestly, it's sensational. Way better than I expected from a buffet line. And the fish taco, also great. Crispy fried fish, seasoned well, and a clean traditional flavor. Nothing fancy, but very well executed. The fish Veracruz isn't bad. Not bad at all. It has a nice flavor, a little overcooked, yes, but not cooked to death. Whatever fish they're using, it manages to hold on to its moisture, which tells me it's definitely not branzino. Branzino dries out even when you cook it perfectly. So this is something sturdier, and it works. What really surprised me is the Mexican corn underneath. I loved it. The seasoning from the corn rubs right into the fish and gives it a fantastic boost of flavor. Honestly, the corn is the star of this little trio. The rice is okay, not great, not awful, just edible, fills the plate, and won't blow you away. The beans looked amazing, so I couldn't resist spooning some on my plate. But the moment I tasted them, I knew. They taste to me as though they're straight from a can.
No me gusta.
Especially at a buffet of this caliber. Ever since my days living in Mexico City, I've craved real menudo, the kind that warms your soul. Sadly, this ain't it, kid. The broth is just okay, but the tripe has an off, gamey taste that ruined the dish for me. It's tender, sure, but tenderness alone doesn't make great menudo. You need balance and depth, and this doesn't have it. Maybe the kitchen had an off day. I've heard others say they love the menudo here, but based on what I just tried, it's a miss. The mac and cheese is creamy and light, the white style kind, and pretty good, just not amazing. Easy to enjoy though, and not so heavy it leaves you feeling full. The cream spinach is overwhelming, with way too much sharp cheese. I get what they were going for, but it misses the mark. The buffalo wings, sad to say, are the biggest letdown. They taste like they've been sitting under the heat lamp since the buffet opened. Soft, soggy skin and no crisp left at all. Maybe they were good earlier, but by the time I got to them, they were old and rightfully ignored. Prime rib and buffets have been a team for decades. Back in the 50s and 60s, casinos learned one simple truth about prime rib: if you cook it, they will come. It became the great American casino lure. Slow roasted beef, peppered crust carved to order for just a few bucks. That tradition never died. And to this day, it's still the dish I use to judge every buffet in Las Vegas. If the prime rib fails, then to me the entire buffet is on shaky ground. At the Bacchanal, well, first of all, you have to be strong with the carvers, especially given their surly disposition. If the piece isn't the temperature you want, ask for a different section. If you want it thicker, say so. This is your money and your experience. Speak up, or you won't get what you want. Over the years, I found the Bacchanal's prime rib can be inconsistent, but when it's good, it's very good. As has always been the case, the carvers are usually the surliest of the lot. To them, this is more a transaction, so don't expect a warm greeting. But today we hit the jackpot without having to fight the carver. The roast is rare, just how prime rib lovers want it. The crust is spectacular. Cracked black pepper, coarse salt, deep golden spices baked right into the bark. The fat-to-meat ratio is perfect. The beef is tender, not melt like butter, but tender enough to cut with the butter knife they give you. Every slice is marbled, juicy, and carries that rich crust flavor all the way through. You don't need au jus, it's that good on its own. And while I usually avoid horseradish when the meat is perfect, I tried it for the sake of the review. It's creamy, sinus tingling, just the right touch of sweetness. Today, Bacchanal's prime rib earns its place at the top of the buffet. Most of you know I have a serious sweet tooth, and so the dessert portion of a meal is always very important to me. Well, on this first plate, you can see chocolate caramel pecan torts, raspberry shortcake, banana cream pie, donuts, and carrot cake. By chance, this plate is very easy to review without fear of boring you. Every item is a miss, and I wouldn't recommend a one of them. So, on to plate 2. The lava cake is delicious. Everything a lava cake should be. Hot, creamy chocolate molten in the center. Pretty admirable at a buffet. The pineapple upside-down cake is just passable, but cloyingly sweet. The creme brulee is delicious. I'm so happy they've returned to the great recipe they once had, but which I haven't seen here the last 2 times. This one, the top shell of sugar shatters. The cream below is rich and eggy and wonderful. I could eat 10 of these. And on the last plate, we have a chocolate caramel brownie, which is a little hard to cut into, but once you get past that first bite, it's delicious. Rich, dense, and full of deep chocolate flavor. It hits all the right notes and then some. The chocolate cake is also good. Moist, bitter, sweet, and balanced. Nothing fancy, but it does exactly what a chocolate cake should do. Can you say chocolate coma? The cheesecake is good. Not earth-shattering, not mind-blowing, but solid. Creamy, sweet, and it has a nicely done graham cracker crust. It definitely scratches the cheesecake itch. The lemon meringue tarts are the standout of this plate, and honestly, of the entire dessert section. Light, airy pastry shell, bright, tangy lemon, and a soft, sweet meringue on top. If you're a fan of lemon desserts, you're going to fall in love with these. Well, I'm not going to waste too much time on the ice creams, because honestly, there isn't much to say. If you like really good ice cream, then I would say this is not the place for you. I found it mediocre at best. Nothing special, nothing memorable, and definitely not worth the calories. And those scooping out the ice cream, well, they successfully carry on the surly employee theme. If you want excellent buffet ice cream, I suggest you go the Wicked Spoon. They make it from scratch, and they're hands down the best of any buffet in town. Bacchanal's can't even touch it. Anyway, the good news is it leaves more room for me to try some of that creme brulee. After eating my way through the Bacchanal Buffet, here's the truth. Some dishes absolutely earn the hype. The seafood station alone makes a strong case for the Bacchanal being the best buffet in Las Vegas. The crab, the lobster, the shell-on shrimp, all top tier. And when the prime rib hits, as it did today, it's worth the visit on its own. But not everything is a winner. Some of the house-made items tasted to me as though they were straight from a freezer box. And at nearly $90 a person, you expect better. So is the Bacchanal still the king of Vegas buffets? Well, in some ways, yes. In others, it's a reminder of a well-known saying, all glory is fleeting. Still, if you love seafood, prime rib, or just want to experience the city's most famous buffet, well, it's worth trying. Just be smart about what you put on your plate. Now, I'd like to hear from many of our viewers who've been to the Bacchanal recently. Is it the best buffet in Vegas? What dishes impressed you, and which fell short? Tell me in the comments. I read them all. We'll be back to the Bacchanal soon. Who knows, maybe you'll see us there. And don't forget to tell them, Let's Eat Vegas sent you. Ah, now I understand.
Yay!
Still hungry? Then don't stop now. You won't want to miss these next videos. And of course, it's always a good time to like, subscribe, comment, or share. It's free to do so, and it helps us to grow and to bring you more reviews. Until we eat again, bon appetit.